You are likely a very experienced Kenshi player. You might have
300
or 800 hours in the game. You've tried all there is to try, fought and pillaged, constructed and produced. Now, however, the moment has come when everything in the game feels familiar, and you are bored. In this video, I want to help you fight the boredom and love the game you once loved. Today, I will offer you a new mod that I made and a set of settings, which will make the game harder without ruining the original feel of the game. You may use it with my Vanilla Plus Kenshi Modpack. Please see the video I made about it. Let's start with my mod. As you probably know, most species of wildlife and mechanical monsters of Kenshi are not really dangerous for the player, because you can easily outrun them, even with a completely new character. Now all of that changes. Behold, the Speed Rebalance mod. This mod significantly decreases the running speed of all humanoid races of Kenshi, as well as overall potential of the athletics skill. This is the late game character from my latest permanent death playthrough. He has almost 100 athletics, and as you can see, he can run 26 miles per hour without armor. Now, look at the same character with the Speed Rebalance mod. With the same level of skill, he, as any other humanoid of high athletics skill, can only run with a speed of 16 miles per hour, 10 miles less. Let us now take a look at a freshly created character. In Vanilla Kenshi, regular humans are like Usain Bolts who use a lot of stimulants and also have ADHD. A vanilla brand new character can run with a speed of 17 miles per hour. With the Speed Rebalance mod, however, newly created characters are only capable of running with a speed of 10 miles per hour. FYI, in real life, the running speed of an average human is around 5 to 7 miles per hour. Fastest marathon distance runners can only sustain the speed of 12 miles per hour. Kenshi characters, on the other hand, can easily run like world's fastest sprinters, but over huge marathon distances. Kenshi characters can also wear armor or carry a weapon while running like this. This is simply insane. Most of the Kenshi's wildlife are faster than humans in real world, but they can't do anything against absurd speeds of Kenshi's humanoid characters. And it is absurd, don't you agree? Kenshi's wolf species have no hope of catching a human with their speed of 16 miles per hour, while real-world wolves from our planet can easily sprint and intercept their prey with a speed of 35 to 40 miles per hour. Bone dogs and boneyard wolves should be a real threat, and they are not in Kenshi. Now, however, it all changes. Since I reduced the speed of every humanoid in the game, now all species of Kenshi wolves, spiders, gorillas, and skimmers are far more serious threats than they once were in vanilla. You will now have to plan your travels carefully. A low-level character can now be easily killed by a wolf in the noob-friendly areas of the map. With Speed Rebalance mod, you are encouraged to use more options provided by the game to survive. Having mercenaries is far more useful now, because otherwise your low-level character won't be able to defend against wildlife and survive his travel to another city. You are now encouraged to hire more people into your squad, because more people are safer. Even if someone is totally useless, you will now likely need the option of using the hired characters as bait to save the main characters of your group. Ranged enemies will now have more opportunity to hit your legs with crossbow fire, which too means more losses. More losses means more drama, and more drama means a more interesting playthrough. The Speed Rebalance mod will change the way you perceive various zones of the world of Kenshi, because they will become more dangerous. And The change of perspective is truly what experienced players need to fall in love with the game again. Note that I reduced the speed of humanoids very carefully, while preserving the speed proportions intended by developers. However, worker drones will still run faster on higher levels of athletics than humans, and the Shek, on the other hand, will be worse runners than humans. Speed Rebalance mod also improves the game by providing indirect nerfs to overpowered aspects of the game. First, my mod indirectly nerfs stealth, the most absurdly overpowered skill in Kenshi. Now, there will be no such thing as high-speed, high-skill stealth characters who are able to swiftly run in front of the guards' noses without being spotted, as you can see here. It is impossible now, because stealth characters are moving slower with my mod. Speed Rebalance mod also provides an indirect nerf to what I call animation kiting. What is animation kiting, you might ask? It is when you exploit the manner in which NPCs move with weapons in order to provoke a strike from an NPC, manually evade it, and keep running towards the safe spot on the map. See? Like this. Of course, with Speed Rebalance mod, it is still possible to animation kite. However, all characters are slower now, which means that this gamey and exploity tactics is more annoying for the player to use. The player will now have to do animation kiting for a really long time, in case the player wants to escape the tight spot with the help of this very dishonest way of playing Kenshi. They also slightly buffed the movement speed of most hostile small and average-sized animals, the speed of bone dogs, skimmers, and spiders, so that they remain a threat throughout the game, even when you are at high levels of athletics. One additional boon comes from this buff. Your own bone dogs will now be more useful than they were before. Now you will be able to use them as in real life, for hunting purposes, to chase the prey, slow it down, and then finish it with your weapons. On the contrary, I nerfed the movement speed of caravan animals, garrus and bulls, so that they are not faster than most threats to caravans. If you are already using or planning to play with my Vanilla Plus Kenshi modpack, then rejoice, as my modpack will become even better with Speed Rebalance mod. In my modpack, I added lots of new enemies, and not all of them are very fast. Now, however, every annoying and scary creature I added to the game will be even more annoying and scary. I have provided an updated mod load order as a Google document in the comments section. You will also find a non-Steam option of my mod there. If you are using Steam, subscribe to my mod on Steam Workshop. The link will be in the comments section. Before you do that, please subscribe to my channel, consider liking and commenting the video. There will be more gaming content in the nearest future. I focus on sandboxes, strategies, and role-playing games. Let's say you installed my Speed Rebalance mod, and it has significantly boosted the difficulty of your game, and, subsequently, the fun you are getting from the game. But this is not the only way to rekindle your love for Kenshi. There are options you can change within the game itself to get a very different experience. Let's talk about the advanced options. The advanced options are this button that you see when choosing a starting option for your playthrough. Advanced options can make your game far more interesting and significantly harder. The first, and in my opinion, the most important advanced option is hunger time. You should never ever increase this number, because it will make your game easier. If you increase the hunger time, then your characters will eat less, and you don't want that. As a game, Kenshi suffers greatly from extreme ease to become rich. In vanilla, it's very easy to swim in coin after just a few days, if you know what you're doing, of course. Tweaking the hunger time can change that. I recommend you to set the hunger time to the absolute possible minimum, to 0.25 of regular hunger time. Your characters will get hungry 4 times faster than in the vanilla game. I've had a full playthrough like this, and I must say that it will seriously transform your economic experience in Kenshi. Your characters will eat more, and that means more spending. More spending on food means more challenging early and mid-game. Fast hunger means that you will have to be more careful in choosing who you are recruiting. You may know that Sheks eat more than humans, and that humans are eating more than hive worker drones. You will have many dilemmas, such as hiring this strong and sturdy Shek warrior who will also eat through your supplies like a herd of pigs, or hiring 2 or even 3 frail hive worker drones who will still eat less taken together than a Shek warrior. Now, do you remember what I said about needing more people because of speed rebalance mod? Fast hunger, which makes it harder to expand your squad, will come into conflict with the needs of traveling safer brought by speed rebalance mod. And traveling safer in the circumstances of being unable to escape from wildlife means having more people. This creates an interesting dilemma, which you, as a player, will have to solve. More dilemmas like this means more interesting game experience. Increased hunger also means the need to carry more supplies around. This will force you to use pack animals and heavy backpacks to stay alive. This means an additional layer of difficulty regarding your squad management. The second advanced option is called Chance of Death. The chance of death affects the rates of wound degeneration and blood loss. If this stat is higher, then your wounds and wounds of other characters will get worse faster. This means more blood loss KOs, more lost limbs, and more deaths. I recommend dramatically increasing this stat. The absolute minimum of buff that I recommend is up to 3.25 chance of death. Though, if you are feeling particularly ruthless, I recommend that you set the chance of death to the maximum. I played my last long Kenshi campaign with 3.25 chance of death, and I must say that I will set the chance of death to the maximum next time I play Kenshi. High chance of death is very beneficial for your gameplay, because in standard Kenshi settings, the high toughness characters are too overpowered. It's basically impossible to lose a high toughness character to wound degradation while playing with standard chance of death setting. Plus, let's be real for a moment, Kenshi characters in general are way too tanky on standard settings. Kenshi characters can wear no armor, but they can still get up after being cut by sharp blades multiple times. This, I think, has to change. The next setting, the global damage multiplier, is straightforward. It increases or decreases the total amount of damage dealt from any source. This, overall, has nothing to do with difficulty. It is just about your preferences. Do you want your fights to be faster or slower? In my opinion, longer fights are somewhat immersion breaking because in real life flesh is fragile. However, I still want Kenshi to retain the feeling of a game that has epic anime style duels, so I don't want the fights to become too short paced either. In my opinion, the ideal global damage multiplier is 1.2. I recommend leaving production speed and research speed exactly as they are. I've always felt that production speeds in Kenshi are quite slow already, and Kenshi's crafting mechanics encourage too much specialization in production. If you're producing anything in Kenshi, you likely have characters who see nothing but their crafting benches, have no recreation, and even no bedtime. All they do is just work. Well, I know that this is a very accurate representation of corporate life, and I generally don't want my characters to go through that kind of suffering. On the other hand, I'm not the one to ever make any game easier in any aspect, so let's just leave production speed as it is. Research speed is fine at standard value, because research in Kenshi is not time-consuming original research. You see, Kenshi characters are not really creating new knowledge. They are simply learning from the books created by the Machinist University or from the ancient books that remained from the old empire. For a process of mere replication of knowledge, vanilla Kenshi time rates are fine. Building speed, however, must be significantly decreased. Construction of buildings is not an easy task, and I always felt like vanilla speed of construction is too fast. So I usually set the construction time multiplier to 0.5. The last and the difficult question concerns the number of nests modifier. This setting increases the number of nests spawning out in the wilds of Kenshi. Bigger number means that you will meet more animals while exploring the map. I recommend you to be fairly, somewhat conservative with this setting, as there is a risk of having too many wild animals on the continent. Too many, to the extent that it will ruin your immersion. During my last playthrough, I've had number of nests modifier set to 3, and I can recommend this multiplier to you. Obviously, leave the bandits loot the player option activated, and do not use easy prospecting, as the former makes the game harder, and the latter makes the game easier. Now you are done. We have applied the advanced options optimal from my point of view. Now, after you've started the game, I recommend you go to the game options and enter the gameplay section of the settings. This is where you change the NPC squads, town rates, and dismemberment settings. I recommend you set population settings to 1.15. With that, you will meet more squads of enemies with more troops inside them, but not too much of them. Thanks to this, the world will feel more populated, but your immersion will remain intact. I also set town attacks frequency to high and town raid events and frequency to 1.2, with town attacks frequency set to high, just to get more attacks without going too overboard with them. I also picked the strongest dismemberment setting. Now, every time your limb goes to -100, you will permanently lose it. This means more damage, more death, and, as I previously said, more drama, which means a better campaign. And that's it, my friends. These are all specific gameplay tweaks that I wanted to offer, which will help you reignite your love for Kenshi. All other options you have to rekindle your interest for Kenshi are not mods or settings which I can suggest to you for installation. Your other options have to do with you and your imagination. You can forbid yourself using some mechanics of the game, for example, thievery or iron and copper mining. During my last playthrough, I banned both of those, as I consider these mechanics overpowered. You can also restrict your camera and hold it near your characters, so that you are unable to spot enemies with your divine vision from above. Be creative, and you will find ways to recreate the fails you had once, during your first playthrough of Kenshi, when everything felt new. Use my mod and the settings I suggested in combination with my lore-friendly Kenshi modpack. If you haven't seen the video about my modpack yet, please watch it. Goodbye, and I will see you soon here in the Videological Dungeon.